Okay, YouTubers, if you've been following along with our channel, you'll know that we're planning on doing quite a tour of the United States, and we're going to use our Riker within this trailer that we purchased, and obviously here's our B-Class camper that we're going to be using to do this traveling. Now, we bought the Aluma MC210 trailer for our Riker because the dimensions seem to work for us, and now I have to set it up so that I can balance the weight so that I don't have no more than 15% of the weight on the actual RV. So the tongue weight I want to keep somewhere between 10 and 15% of the combined trailer and Riker weight. Now, on the Aluma website, it says that this trailer weighs 600 pounds. Now, I have the optional spare tire with matching rim, and I'm going to have the two motorcycle tire catches here. One's going to be here and one's going to be over here. I haven't really identified the exact location yet, simply because I don't know where to put the Riker to make sure that I have that 10 to 15% tongue weight. So I know the Riker weighs 616 pounds, I think, from the Can-Am website, dry weight. So I'm going to assume about 650 pounds wet. And the trailer, like I said, weighs 600 pounds. However, I'm going to have the spare tire, the wheel chocks, and I'm probably going to put a couple other things on there. So I'm going to figure 650 pounds for the trailer as well. So altogether, I'm estimating that my load is going to be about 1,300 pounds, kind of all said and done. Now, to find out what my empty trailer tongue weight is, I devised a little plan here. I've just got my bathroom scale, and I've got just a PVC pipe here, and I'm going to take the trailer off of here, set the tongue on here. It's a digital scale that I can zero out with everything else on it, and that way I'll be able to tell exactly what the tongue weight is. Now, I know online there's a whole bunch of methods of using boards and 1 foot and 2 foot and blah blah blah. I'm not interested in doing any of that. The trailer is light, the Riker is light. I'm not going to hurt my scale, because I can't imagine that my tongue weight is going to be more than 200 pounds by the time I'm said and done. So I'm not too worried about that. The other thing is, I've got a level here, and I'm checking the level both horizontally, going with the trailer and with the axles, just so that I can make sure that as I'm weighing everything that I'm pretty flat, because I know that when I hook this trailer up to my trailer hitch that I have here, I'm really level. Okay, so I know I'm starting off at a good level, and you want this to be level. You want to have the trailer tongue hooked up to the ball and all that to be level. So I'm going to put a level on there, and I'll show you later on that it will be level when we're said and done. The other thing I want to make sure is not only it's level, but I'm between 10 and 15% right here at the tongue where it connects up to my truck. So that's the idea. I'm going to go ahead and get the scale going and get it set up, and then you'll be able to see exactly what the empty trailer weight is for this particular trailer. So here we go. I've got it on there, and you can see the empty trailer weight is 89.7 pounds. Okay, and this is the way it looks like right now. Again, I'm keeping everything pretty level, center PVC on the center of the scale. I've got the board there just to kind of keep everything centered and don't scratch the glass scale. Wife would kill me. So that's the beginning weight. Okay, so now I've got the Riker sitting on here, just kind of mocked up right now, and the location that I think it should go. We're going to find out in a minute whether that's a good location or not. You'll notice that I've got the engine, which is really going to be kind of the heaviest part, just forward of the axle. I'm trying for that 60-40 balance to make sure that I got most of the weight just in front of the axle. Obviously, you don't want more weight behind the axle, but at the same time, I'm trying to keep that 10 to 15% tongue weight. So again, that's the goal here. Now, as you saw earlier, the tongue weight of the empty trailer was about 90 pounds, which is, you know, between 14 and 15% of the actual trailer weight. A little surprising that it was that high, but it is what it is. So if I'm going to shoot for somewhere probably around 12%, you know, 10 to 15% of the Riker weight also on the tongue, I'm probably going to be looking to add 65 to 75 pounds onto that. So I'm going to be shooting for, you figure 90 plus 70, you know, you're at 160. I'm going to be shooting for about 165-ish actual tongue weight, give or take obviously a little bit. So that's kind of the goal that we're going to be going for right now. Once I have that established, what I'm going to do is I'll permanently install the wheel chocks, because like I said, they're not permanently installed right now, one on each side. That way I can make sure I load it at the exact same spot every time. So let's go and get a weight check of this, and you'll see that in a second. Alright YouTube, you can see we're at 161.1 pounds. And here's the setup that I used again. That's off the ground, although it might look like it's touching. Okay, as I said, I'm going to go ahead and permanently mount those there, because at 161 from the 89, 88 I started at, that gives me just over 10% of the Riker weight is actually on the tongue. And I'm happy that this is engine and the bulk of the weight is just forward of the axle. I believe this is going to be a pretty good solid ride. I'm now going to go ahead and make sure everything's level, and I'll show you the level here in a second once it's hooked up. Alright, now I've got it all hooked up, so all the weight is now on the truck. I've got the level here. Now obviously the bubble's off just a hair bit because the road obviously slightly angled so that the water can run off it when it rains. We're going to take a look real quick at the level going forward, and what you're going to see here is, wow, it doesn't get too much better than that for level. And when I'm talking about level, I'm talking about trying to keep the tongue level so that it's not dipping down or angling up. I just want to keep everything flat. Now previously you saw that we have about 161 pounds of weight now connected to the back of the camper van, and obviously I have to take that in consideration when I'm talking about loading the camper van and the total weight in the camper van as well. So with that said, let's take a quick look at the level here on the actual trailer. And what you're going to see here, again, the level's almost in the center. However, again, it's dipping down toward the front just a little bit. You can see as I lift up here. So there is a slight angle toward the front, but that's exactly what I would expect, considering how I have most of the weight of the Riker just on the just forward of the axle. But as you can see, not very far off, pretty darn level. So we're going to go ahead and install the wheel chocks right there. Then we're going to go ahead and clamp her down and take a final weight. Okay, a little bit of an update here. What I've done is I've gone ahead and installed 2 of the 4 holes. Actually there's 6, but you can't see those ones, they're going to be underneath. Just so that I can mock up where I want this to be. I did the same to the other side. Simply taped it off once I knew where I wanted it to be. Got my drill out, drilled a couple holes. It's aluminum, pretty simple to do. Installed these right here. I'm going to now pull the Riker up and see how it fits. Cross your fingers. Okay, so now we've got the Riker on. Let's take a look at the job. So the first thing you should know is that these stock wheel chocks that come with the MC210 trailer are about 6 inches wide, and the tire is about 6 inches wide. So there's not a lot of room to play. You can see it's rubbing a bit on the inside here, and you may have 1/8 of an inch, maybe, on this side. So I'm going to oval out the hole a little bit here on this side to allow it to slide a little bit. The other thing you'll see is I got this almost touching on this side over here, whereas on the other side I've got probably about a little over 1/4 inch, maybe close to 1/2 inch of space here. No, maybe 1/4 of an inch on this side. So, and the same thing, you're going to see here, have a little bit of room, not a whole lot, maybe a 1/16 of an inch, and over here it's touching. Again, just because these are 6 inches wide and the tires are 6 inches wide, so I'm going to oval out the holes a little bit on this side as well, and then that'll give it the room to slide over a little bit. The underneath bracket that I put in place is actually bolted in the final location, so I do have a little bit of room to play here with the hole size to make it fit exactly what I want. So all in all, a pretty good first start, but not quite there. Maybe I'm being a little bit of a perfectionist, but I just want it to be really solid and maybe not wear on the wheels as much as I'm driving. Don't know that that'll happen. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and load the Riker on right now so we can test the fitment. Before I do, I wanted to show how much space we have on the MC210 ramp. You can see we have probably 2-3 inches maybe on this side of the ramp, and then over on this side about the same, maybe 2-3 inches on this side. So the ramp is wide enough for the Riker. So let's go ahead and put it right up on there and see how it looks. And you also notice that we won't scrape at all going up and down this ramp. Pretty easy to do. Now let's take a quick look at the fitment. What you're going to see, again, we know that these are 6 inch wide and the tires are 6 inch wide, so they're in there and they're touching on both sides. Not a lot, not like it's going to damage the tire, but it is touching on both sides. You can see that the engine, where most of the weight is going to be, is just forward of the axle. Take a look at it from behind. Pretty close to straight onto the trailer. Not bad. And again, taking a look at this side, you can see the same thing. It's in there nice and snug. Looks pretty good. All right, now let's get set up for the weight and just see what our final weight is and call it a day. Okay, let's do the final weight check. Zero the scale. Crank the weight down onto the trailer. And let's see what we get. We ended up with a weight of 163.4, which is very close to the 165 I was shooting for. So the weight looking pretty good. Position looks pretty good. And we already did the level check, so the level is pretty good. I think this is going to be a pretty safe setup after it's strapped on and ready to roll. Go ahead and put your comments in the below, and let's see if you guys agree with me.